In this tutorial, we're going to go through Adobe Illustrator CC 2020 Classroom in a Book, Chapter 11. This is part 2 of the jellyfish. When we left off the jellyfish, we just finished creating the gradient look in the water. And now we are going to go ahead and apply some gradients to some other objects with a linear gradient fill. So let's grab that selection tool. And let's grab the selection tool and click on this first purple seaweed thing. So let's go select, come down to same, and we want fill color. It's going to go ahead and grab all those purple for us at once. Let's go ahead and grab that. And let's go to the fill box here, and let's come down to the gradient and grab kind of that radial one that's actually called plant. Let's go ahead to that gradient tool over here in the toolbar, and let's drag from top to bottom. Kind of change the direction of that element. Now let's go ahead and change the opacity just a little tiny bit. So let's go into opacity here and take those plants down to about 30%. Oh, nothing's happening. Isn't that fun? Let's double click our gradient here. Okay, why isn't anything happening? All right, so I've got my gradient. Let's undo a few times. All right, select, same, fill color. Fill color is now going to be this. Grab the gradient tool, drag from top to bottom. Nope, I'm grabbing that blue instead. All right, let's go ahead and grab this guy. I'm having a devil of a time with this one today, aren't I? All right, so let's go ahead and drag with our gradient tool, top to bottom. All right, that's much better. All right, and let's take our opacity over here to 30%. So we make it kind of more see-through. All right, now we're going to go ahead and create the upper part of the jellyfish. So we're going to go ahead, grab our selection tool, grab that green blob. Let's do Control plus, zoom in a few times. And let's go ahead on our gradient type and choose the, let's see, what do we want? Just the plain black and white. All right, let's grab our gradient tool over here. And from there, let's go ahead and we want to drag it so it's just past the bottom. So let's go ahead and drag it so it just goes past here because we're going to end up playing with this a little bit. All right, now it's on that black color stop over here. So black. Let's go ahead and hit that black and make it light blue instead. And on the white one, we're going to go ahead and, let's go back to that. And change the opacity on that one down to 0 because we want it to be see-through. And let's go here to the white one and grab that light blue again. But let's make the opacity 70%. So now we get kind of a nice see-through. So if we drag that midpoint up a little, we can see how it can create more and more transparency because basically we're going to make this the outside. It's going to go over top of our body of our jellyfish. So let's do Control S and save what we've got so far. And that one's pretty good, ready to go. Now we're going to go ahead and create a free form gradient. So this one's a little bit funky. Looks a little bit like a mushroom when we finish up. So let's grab our selection tool and grab that white in the jellyfish. Let's go zoom in a couple times with Control plus, and let's select that gradient tool over here in the toolbar. Now when we go ahead and double click on it, nothing is happening. Isn't that fun? All right, we want to do a control click. No, we don't. Alrighty. Why am I losing my mind today? Okay, we've got gradient tool in the toolbar. We want to go grab their free form gradient in the properties panel on the right. Aha, here we go. So we want to make it a free form. Now we want to go ahead and make it sure it's points and not lines. And now we're going to go ahead and start messing with it. So it's going to give us some pre-made spots to work with. So we're going to go ahead and click on this one first on the far left. Let's double click it and make it dark purple instead, which is on this third row down, like the second one. Yeah, second one. Let's go ahead and make it a dark purple. And let's go ahead and grab that purple color stop and kind of drag it over to the middle of, come on, middle of the mushroom kind of. I know he's not a mushroom, he's a jellyfish. All right, and now let's go ahead and click on the shape near the top. So we should have another one up here. We're going to add another color stop. Let's double click it and let's make it kind of a yellow instead. So let's go ahead and grab this one that says yellow. And we want to go ahead and make sure that we spread that dark purple a little bit out and change it a little bit. So let's go ahead and escape so we can close that widget down. Let's go ahead and grab that widget and we can play with this to control the spread of that color. Let's go ahead and make it spread just a little bit more. And maybe we want to make this one spread. See how I can affect those two and how they're touching each other. All right, let's go ahead and add another color stop over here. Let's double click it and make it pink. So our pink is over here, fourth row down. And on the next one, let's go ahead and go to, we've got one more left over here. Let's click on that one. And let's go ahead and use our color picker for that one. So grab our color picker and go ahead and choose a color from kind of the legs that we've got already. So you can see how we're kind of creating this look for the kind of the free form look that we've got going on. All right, so now with the gradient tool still selected, let's go ahead and drag our color stop we see below to the left side of the shape. So let's go ahead and grab this one and kind of drag it this way. And see how you can kind of move those around. All right, and let's go ahead and apply the swatch. Let's call it purple. Let's put purple on here. So double click, and we want to grab the one called purple. Make it a little bit different so you can kind of see how you can graduate those just a little bit. So now let's go ahead and play with something else. Let's select lines instead. And now let's kind of pull this one on lines. We get kind of a different look and feel there. So if we move our pointer from into the center of the shape, we see that path preview and we have our new color swatches applied. So isn't that nice? So that's what happens when we do the lines one. So let's go ahead and move this one up here and move it so we come down here. So you can kind of see we've made kind of gradual arch here instead, which creates a much nicer look and feel. So that's the difference between doing the points and the lines. Let's do an escape and get out of that one. And we can pull that middle one up and down. Kind of see how it affects the color of your jellyfish. So get your jellyfish adjusted the way you like. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. So next thing we're going to do is start playing with some blended objects. We're going to start creating kind of those spines on the jellyfish. So let's do a Control S and save what we've got so far. We're going to go ahead and use the blend tool. Let's go to our window and our layers. And we want to make sure we turn on the eyeball for this one called blends. We want to make sure nothing is selected, so select and deselect, so nothing is selected. And blend, you're going to see we've got these 3 different dots that are here. So let's go ahead and grab our blend tool, which is about 2/3 down on the tool panel. And we're going to go ahead and go over top of this little tiny circle until we get a square with an asterisk. So we're going to say this is where we want to start that blend, and nothing seems like it's happening. So the next thing we're going to do is go over the center, and we're going to say we want to blend to that point. So right now it just made a big line, which isn't what we want. So let's go Object and Blend and come down to Blend Options. We're going to go ahead and change that. We want to go ahead and change that to Specified Steps, and we want to make those steps 10. We can hit Tab, and you see now we've got 10 little lines. So let's go ahead and say OK. So now I want to modify that blend a little bit. I want these to get smaller as they go up. So I'm going to do Control Plus and zoom in. I'm going to go ahead and grab my selection tool. And we want to double click anywhere on here to enter isolation mode. Let's go to View and Outline. And what we want to do is make this dot a little bit smaller. So we're going to grab that dot. I'm going to go grab Shift and make it much smaller. I'm going to go ahead and select and deselect. I'm going to go with my pen tool. I'm going to grab my pen tool. I want to curve this path a little bit, so I'm going to hit Alt and grab my path. Kind of bring it up to make it a nice gentle curve. All right, so now I'm going to, those dots are going to be curved. So let's go to View and GPU Preview. And you can now see that my dots go from big to small. And let's go ahead and escape to get out of the isolation mode. So Control minus and zoom out a little bit. And let's go ahead and make one more blend. So let's grab that blend tool. We're going to start here at the top. We're going to blend here to the bottom. And you can see we've got it automatically repeated those steps for us. You need to grab that pen tool again and go ahead and, oops, undo. Need to Alt and do the pen tool. Alt pen tool, and bend that path a little bit. All right, and that looks pretty good so far. Let's do a Control S and save what we've got on that one. So now we want to create a smooth color blend. So let's do a View, Fit Artboard and Window. The next thing we're going to do is create a piece of seaweed that's similar to the piece of seaweed that we've got right here. So we're going to do that by grabbing our selection tool, and we want to click on the pink piece, and then we want to shift click and grab the purple piece as well. Now we want to go to Object, Blend, and Make. So Object, Blend, Make, and it's going to go ahead and blend those two together. So with that blend object still selected, let's go ahead and double click the blend tool, and we're going to get some options there. And we want to go ahead and make smooth color is on. See what happens if you do specified steps versus, well, you can do specified steps, but you have to make it much smaller. So we're just going to make it smooth color and say OK. All right, then we're going to go select and deselect. Now let's go ahead with that selection tool. We want to double click within that color blend to enter that isolation mode. Oh, selection tool. Let's enter isolation mode. We want to click on the path to the right, and we want to go ahead and pull that in so we get kind of more of a seaweedy type shape. I don't like how it's pulling over that one a little bit. And now the colors, see how the colors kind of change the blend. And let's go ahead and escape. And let's drag select over those two pieces of seaweed and go ahead and bring those in here to my poster. So now I want to go ahead and grab that transparent piece and bring it up over top of my jellyfish. Let's go ahead and do a, go in our properties panel and do an arrange, bring to front. So it's actually over top of the whole thing. Let's go ahead and go to our layers and go ahead and turn on all those other layers. And now you have your poster. So for your publication, you might choose to go in and change that type. You can do whatever you want for it. Make sure you go ahead and package this. So File and Package. All right, please go ahead and save. All right, it's going to go ahead. I want to put it in my Lesson 11 folder. All right, and I'm going to change this to, instead of folder, I'm going to put PKG and Package. All right, it's going to go ahead and show me the package, so I can go into my Lesson 11. I can see that I've got this. So all I have to do is right-click and send to compressed file. And that is the end of part 1 for chapter 11. And we've got one more part to do, which has got to do with the cake. So see you for part 3.